Hi, Tim May, Creative Director at Explain. I wanted to recap our recent webinar on employee experience mapping. I'm just going to shrink down here and show you some highlights of what we went through in this recent webinar. So yeah, this is me, Tim. We talked about mapping employee experience, first of all, with framing the story on why this is valuable. So we talked about how most companies have 1 in 3 of their employees leave annually at a cost of $4,000 per employee to replace them. That's expensive. We also talked about kind of setting up employee experience as a real opportunity where most organizations are good at serving their customers. Not all organizations are equally good at making their employees' experience as amazing as their customer experience. EX versus CX. So we talked about the need to kind of balance those audiences, right? And you can kind of rate yourself on how you're serving the most important audiences that you've defined in your world. And we use an example from Explain is how we do that in our visioning. So the next thing we talked about is sort of seeing the value of investing in employee experience. And the question that we raised was, where do we start? Where do we start when we're trying to understand the employee experience? So for Explain, we started with kind of a cool map that we've put together over the past year or so, where we kind of map these touch points, and we don't necessarily define them, but we do have overarching stages for each of these touch points. So like discovery, when you're discovering the organization, onboarding, training, work, rewards, mobility within the organization once you're there, breaks, and exit when you might be leaving the company. And then we kind of talk about what are our specific touch points along this path. So every organization is going to be a little different. And what's the emotional curve as you start to figure out, like, these experiences are not so good. So we see like we've got a couple of low spots, and then it moves up, might move over, down, etc. But that kind of gives you a little better understanding of kind of the emotional journey that your employees might be going through along the way. And then we kind of get into, so what are the needs at this point? What are insights that we learn? What are some opportunities that we get as a part of that? So moving forward, we talked a little bit about activating employees to a change. When you're trying to make something new happen, what do you do to sort of build enthusiasm and move people from just kind of hearing it to believing it to living it, to the point where this is sort of the new business as usual. So this is definitely about kind of the change management that happens as you're making change happen within an organization. And then factors for improving the employee experience. A few things that we think would be really valuable for making it better. And then we had some kind of final thoughts here around, when you start, do your anthropology in the organization you're working with. Every organization is going to be different. Don't work alone. Don't do your stuff all by yourself. Make sure that you're engaging a broad swath of people who are doing it. Work visually, test and repeat, build momentum with quick wins. And keep us in the loop. Talk to Explain if you want to find out more. We love doing this work. It's definitely fun getting into sort of the nuts and bolts of why people work the way they do inside of organizations. And I thank you for your time.